I saw that Mike Payton, who covers the Lions, he put out something, and I've seen a lot of discussions about this player. And an NFL analyst for Bleacher Report, his name is Mitch Milani. He wrote an article suggesting that a great free agent target for the Lions would be maybe we'll see, former, maybe current, depending on what happens in free agency, I guess, Josh Sweat. And he says, I view him as a good Detroit Lion. I think he's got the ideal skill set to complement Aidan Hutchinson. He's not an overwhelming pass rusher, but he can certainly take advantage of matchups. We saw that in the Super Bowl. You could give him a matchup one-on-one and he'll feast. He can win with finesse and dip and bend, and he can win with length and power as well. You know, he's got a good complement of moves and complement of skill set. Aidan Hutchinson is one of the best pass rushers in football, who's constantly, being asked to basically beat double teams. I get that. I get it. Yeah. I get it, Mitch. So Detroit could desperately utilize another rusher on the opposite side that can also feast. Josh Sweat.
Can I ask you guys a question before we get into this Josh Sweat thing?
Yeah.
Say we sign a free agent, and this is for the chat too, because I would love to know, and obviously we don't really know pricing and everything. What are you guys willing to pay for an edge rusher across from Aidan Hutchinson? Think about this, boys. Like, knowing you have to pay Hutch, Aleem got extended, and then you might need another D tackle, whether that's through the draft. I'm just interested to see, because I'm going to give you guys the market value after of a guy like Josh Sweat, and we're going to have all these different free agents we're going to go over tonight. I just want to know your guys' range of, like, I feel comfortable doing this. And it's going to be more than a 1-year deal. Like, let's say a 3 or 4 year deal.
So
drop it in the chat if you have a number. I want a range.
I'm going to be completely honest here. As much as I love Josh Sweat, the player, and he played well in the Super Bowl, I think personally there's a 0% chance he signs with Detroit. I think it's 0. He's already came out and said he wants to return to Philly. So if it's not Philly, I don't think he would come to Detroit. So I don't even think it's going to happen. Now, to answer your question.
Yeah, I want any edge rusher, minimum to a max, like that range you would be willing to spend.
I don't think the Lions will be able to afford Josh Sweat if he's not back in Philly. So I don't think he's out of personally my, I guess, price range. The only player that I'm willing to take a hit for would be if you were to acquire Myles Garrett and restructure that deal, or like a Max Crosby, whatever. In terms of free agents, I think ideally you sign a free agent defensive end that's pretty good, but like a Judon or someone of that caliber, whatever it is, that's like good, but can get you to, your rookie edge can really take over, assuming they don't trade for Myles Garrett, obviously. I don't want to give any guy a long-term bag in free agency, like a Josh Sweat. So I almost I don't want to call it a Band-Aid because that sounds like Marcus Davenport, but like a really solid Band-Aid, like a bandage, like one of those bandages you put over like a bad cut or something. Like, it'll help, but you're trying to just get till this rookie gets there, essentially.
One of those bandages. Yeah, a Band-Aid. Yep.
Like one of those like hospital bandages, like a little,
okay.
Not just like a little Band-Aid.
You want like some gauze, wrap it up.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you, Jeff. I mean, I guess we could think of a price number because we're going to talk about a lot of edge rushers today. I'm with you though. Like, signing a guy long-term, like with the Myles Garrett thing, I think one of the biggest things with it is he has the 2 years left, non-guaranteed money, to where if you bring him in, like, you are going to have to restructure because he's going to want guaranteed money. It's like, do you add the years onto it? Like, do you want to add more years? I think that's where, because you do have Za'Darius potential you can opt in for, right? And if, like, to your point, Jeff, if we're talking about, hey, let's get a Band-Aid type player to where it holds you over until you get a rookie or a younger guy, Za'Darius probably might be that best option across from Hutch because you opt in, it's a 1-year deal, and then you're out of it the next year. So that's where I think the mindset goes. Now, if you want to go get a guy, and there's some guys out there, I think, that are willing probably to say, hey, I'll take a 1-2 year deal on a prove it deal. And I'll go out there. I want to win a Super Bowl and I'll prove it. And I think there's a couple of guys that we talk about tonight that have that mindset a little bit. That's exactly what I like. That Jeff, hey, we're together on this one. No,
what do you think? What do you think, Klotzy? Your guy Khalil Mack would be perfect.
Khalil Mack would be perfect because I think he's like a bona fide starter, like a guy that can actually consistently cause issues. Now, when I compare these players, I'm not saying their play style, but signing Josh Sweat would give me like little like waff, little reekage of like a Trey Flowers signing. Not as far as the money goes. Trey Flowers was probably way more, But when I just look at Josh Sweat, I think he's a good player. He was in an excellent situation and got you 8 sacks. Now in the playoffs, especially in the Super Bowl, turned up for you. But that whole Philadelphia Eagles defensive line was turning up. So I don't think it was like the Josh Sweat show. He was out there like making plays. Don't get me wrong. But again, if you're paying a guy like that, anything north of probably
it's a tough contract.
12 million. Again, I'd rather have an older Khalil Mack, who I think opposite of Aidan Hutchinson, guaranteed, if healthy, 10 sacks without a doubt. Josh Sweat, you're like, okay, he could give you in between maybe 7 he can get you to 11, but it's not really a for sure thing as far as a guy that is going to make a difference. I think there's been glimpses of Josh Sweat, but there's never been a season where Josh Sweat has taken over. And I think if you're the Detroit Lions, you make it out of the NFC, you're going up against elite quarterback. If you're going up against elite quarterback, elite head coach, it's this year.
You need it too.
Super Bowl, like we were just talking about with the Buccaneers. You saw it. You need 2 elite guys that can get to the quarterback.
You to his market value, Klotz, you said 12. His market value on Spotrac or Spot Track, whatever it is, 18 million.
Yeah,
like that's over. Like that's a lot of money. That's why I wanted to get the range from you guys, just to kind of, because you can go on there and see the market value based off stats and all the other contracts. I wanted to see like, hey, if you guys are like, if you don't want to go over 18, like if you got Myles Garrett, it's going to be way over that, right? Like you're going to be paying a lot, but again, it's worth it because on the other side of Hutch, you have a 15 sack guy in Hutch and you have a 15 to 20 sack guy in Myles Garrett, and you have them both there. So it's like, it's worth the money at that point.
Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, officialctsports.com.